Want to draw the cutest Christmas axolotl ever? Well, today I'll show you how to create this adorable ice cream cone cupcake axolotl with the Santa hat, whipped cream, and drippy ice cream, all using Posca paint markers. If you love cute cupcake designs, check out my cute cupcake playlist for even more fun creations. Well, let's grab your pencil and your markers and let's get started. Well, I'd like to share my sketch with you. So here we have three forms: the cylinder for the ice cream cone, we have a sphere for the head, another sphere for the Santa hat, and we also have one for the cherry. And here is the full color palette. As you can see, I've created color swatches using values. We're going to have lighter and darker colors today, and that's going to make this character really pop and look three-dimensional. We're going to start with the cylinder today, so we're going to draw two dots and a foreshortened circle. All right, now this is going to be the top of the ice cream cone, these two vertical lines. And then now we're going to match this curve here. So this curve on the lip or the top, we're going to match that same curve. The sides of this ice cream cone are going to taper down. That means these lines are going to get closer together as they get near the bottom. And then once again, we want to match that same curve. So this curve right here, we want to try to match that curve when we draw the bottom of this ice cream cone. Fantastic. This is our first size relationship. That's also known as proportions. So look at the size of this circle that I'm drawing. You don't obviously don't want it too big. We don't want it too small. So I made this circle to where it's a little bit wider than the ice cream cone. Now we can turn the character's head to the right just by curving a line to the right. And now this is called a cross contour line. So we have one curving up. So this character is looking to the right and also looking up. Now we're going to go ahead and draw the eyes. So the eye on the left is a little bit larger. The eye on the right is a little bit smaller. And this is a characteristic of chibis. We have those two white dots inside of the eyes, and we're going to fill them in. Okay, we're going to draw a line that curves up above the eye on both sides. And now I'm going to curve a line to the left, and I'm going to add little eyelashes. So it has another layer of cuteness. On the other side, it's a line that curves to the right. And a little line that curves up right underneath the eyes. Because this is a 3/4 view portrait, you'll notice also the mouth. We see more of the mouth on the left side, less on the right-hand side. So just like our eye is larger on the left, we see more of the mouth on the left-hand side. Okay, we're going to move on to the Santa hat. So we're going to start off with a line that curves up, and that line that curves up, like I said, is a cylinder. And now we're going to start drawing the gills of the axolotl. So we're going to draw 3 ovals. I'm going to get my hand moving that motion, and then I put my pencil on the paper. So you can see I'm very sketch-like. I'm always drawing lightly because I'm using construction lines and it's easier to erase. Once again, using size, the gills on the right are smaller than the gills on the left. And now we're going to add a little bit of a cheek here. So it's going to be a line that curves out to the right. All right, we're going to start adding some fun details. So now we're going to get to add the drip. So this ice cream is melting. It's going over the edge of the ice cream cone here. So 2 things that I'm thinking about here is that these drips are creating overlapping. So it's making our artwork appear to be more three-dimensional, but also I want to use variety. So I'm going to add this really long drip here. So you can see it's going to go thin and then back to thick and kind of curves around. Wow, look how much character we've added to that already. And now we're going to add a little bit more overlapping. So we're going to add another long drip down. So you can see variety and overlapping, and look at that, all these fun details. I think our axolotl's melting because it's just too cute to eat. Moving on to the hat, we're going to follow this guideline that we made, and we're just adding that furry texture, so creating those little wavy lines, and now we're going to curve back down to the left-hand side. Well, I've been having so much fun creating holiday art, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We have a little Santa hat. And let's top this off with some whipped cream and a cherry. So once again, I tell kids it's a little bit like a shark fin, how you kind of curve the top like a shark fin. And then now on the left, I'm just curving lines to the left. And then now I'm going to start adding the drippy whipped cream. The whipped cream is dripping down onto the Santa hat. With the cherry, we're going to add some overlapping, so it's going to actually look like the cherry is sitting in the whipped cream. So you can see we only see part of that circle. So as an artist, it's always a good idea to stand back from your artwork, take a look at it. If there's any adjustments that you need to make, we could do that. And now we're going to go ahead and clean up our artwork. So remember, we use construction lines, and sometimes we get confused What are we outlining? What are we not outlining? So it's always a good idea to erase those construction lines first. And these are the two markers I'm using for outlining. So I have one for fine detail, and the Sharpie, I'm just going to use that to add a little bit of a thicker outline on the left-hand side. If you're loving this holiday art, give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and spread the holiday cheer. Share this video with your friends and drop a comment below. Here's a little artist tip for Posca paint markers. If your paper is beginning to tear, stop coloring, let the markers dry. It'll become hard and plastic, and then you can begin coloring again over the top. So I have ruby red, red, light pink, and white. This is the ruby red, and I'm going to establish the darker value first, then the red, and then I'm going to start going back and kind of touching up the darker areas. All right, so I have coral pink. I'm going to establish a base color with that first. And then I'm going to use some white to tint it. So when you add white, it's called a tint. It's making it lighter. Red on the left-hand side, and then the ruby red. That's the darker red. So some kids are like, why are we using pink? I want a red cherry. Well, we're using value. So we have the lighter, darker colors, and that's what makes it look so 3D. So this is the robin green. I'm going to establish the dark value first, and just a little bit on the left-hand side. And now I'm going to use the white marker to pull it over to the lighter side. So I just used a little bit of that darker value because I didn't want the whipped cream to be too dark. And then now I'm just going to go back and add that darker value back in there. So I used the darker value first to color mix, and then I went back to add the shadow back in there. I'm now going to do the same thing with gray and white. You see a little bit of the darker value, and using the white to color mix it, create a light gray, and then I'm just going to add that darker value back in there. All right, so we have light pink, pink, and fuchsia. I'm going to go in with the lighter value first, just kind of putting down a base color. So one thing you could do is you could put down a base color and let it dry first. So like I said, these nibs can really tear up the paper. So if I put that base color down, let it dry, it creates a hard plastic surface, and then you can go back and you can do all your color mixing over the top of it. And you would also want to let your marker dry if you don't want to actually color mix on your paper. So now on the left-hand side of the drip, so I'm using some pink there to build up some value, and underneath the Santa hat on the left side of the face. So the pink is our medium value, and now I'm going to go in with the lighter value, the light pink. So I'm going to pull this pink over to the lighter side, which is the right-hand side. That's where the light source is. So the pink paint is still wet, and this is how I get those color gradations. The darker value that we're going to be using is fuchsia, and this is a 3M. So I've been using 5M. This 3M has a finer point on it. It allows me to outline these gills, and it's also adding these little dots around it. Once again, I'm building up the value, just hitting the left-hand side of the drips and the face here. And with the medium marker, I'm blending in the darker values. With my lighter value, I'm blending in the meteor values. Now I'm just going to go in and add some little white highlights there. And you can see everything's really popping now. So it's really important. Dark, medium, light, and adding those highlights. Okay, so this is our color palette for the ice cream cone. We're gonna actually start with the darker value first, the brown. So I want the left side to be darker, so I'm gonna start off with brown. And then I'm gonna use the apricot. The apricot's gonna be the medium value. The light orange is gonna be the lighter value. So I'm gonna go in with the brown first, and then I'm gonna pull the brown to the lighter side with the apricot. I'm then going to pull the apricot with the lighter orange. And then I'll finally go in with some white to kind of color mix on the right-hand side to make the lighter orange lighter. Let the paint dry first, and then we're going to move on to this step. So we have ivory, beige, and brown. The ivory is going to be the lightest color. I'm going to draw 3 lines that match that same curve down. So I've got 3 lines that match that same curve down. So that's the theme with cylinders. And then I'm going to be drawing the vertical lines down. I'm not going to go in with the brown because the light source is on the right. I'm going to make the right side darker. It's creating a shadow that's being cast across it, and that's creating the depth. You can see it's already looking 3-dimensional. I'm now adding just little dots of beige in there, just adding another little value. And wow, look how 3D that looks. So let's review how we created value today. So we used, for instance, the darker gray color and white. We established the shadow first, and then we used the white marker to pull that color to the lighter side. It created a dark, medium, and a light gray just with those two values. And then sometimes we had three values. So maybe we started off with a medium value, we pulled it with a lighter value. Maybe we tinted the lighter value with white, made that lighter value even lighter, and then going back with the darker value, adding in those shadows and the nooks and crannies and on the left-hand side. Wow. I really love our Christmas axolotl. Look at that whipped cream and cherry on top and that ice cream cone. 3D, the drips. So amazing. Lovely little expression. Well, check out my cute cupcake playlist here at the end credits and share with a friend. Spread the holiday cheer. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you on the next one.